Hey guys, welcome back to another commentary video. Before we begin, we got to 1,000, so that's really neat. Thank you so much, guys, for all your support. We got to 1,000 subscribers, which is really cool to me. We got quad digits, baby. Let's go. So thank you so much, guys, for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. It's really cool that 1,000 of you wonderful people enjoy my channel and want to listen to my thoughts on jiu-jitsu. So today we have thank you very much, and I hope that you enjoy this video. So today that we have Duarte versus Declan Moody in the 2024 ADCC World Championships. I picked this match today just because it's a little bit shorter, and I don't have much time today. So let's get into it. So we have Kynan on the right, Declan on the left here. And so we kind of immediately pulls guard, and you can see how just straight away Declan made a mistake there. He just walked way too close, way too close, way too quickly. So it kind of sits down, and you can see how his left foot is is already primed, and then Declan stepping his right leg forwards into the guard, when in reality, like you don't really want to be passing a butterfly guard when you're tall. You want to be low and away so that you can attach to the feet, and it's really hard to sweep you. So what we should be seeing here is we should be seeing both of these feet back here somewhere, and then the hand should be playing, that sort of thing. So it's very hard to get hold of the ankles with your legs, but Declan just steps straight in, and so we're playing in this top position, and now Declan drops to the knees, but it's a different story because Kynan already has a hand on the leg, and he's got this good control. This rape choke on top. I was told that we're not allowed to call it that, so we'll call it the foreplay choke. He's got this foreplay choke on top here, and a grip with his left hand down bottom, and so this is a lot of control side to side, and this is a lot of control to the inside as well with the leg. And so Declan manages to get out of it, but he's standing back up even though he should be down low and going forwards to control the ankles, and not allow Kynan in underneath him. But again, he's stepping too close. He's stepping too close, and you can see he's too close because Kynan starts immediately scooting forwards, and you can see how now we're into this half guard, but it's tricky for Declan to play because Kynan's off-centered here. Elbows on the floor, knees up into the ribs. He's not allowing control over this inside space, even with this underhook. This underhook's now not doing much. It's actually more of a hindrance than a blessing. And if he's not careful, Declan that is, he's going to get an own underhook, and he's going to get swept in a second. And so we see this, you see how Kynan now has his own underhook and the knee shield on the inside. And this is a difficult position because now Declan's off balance to his right. Kynan retreats that underhook and starts working in for the butterfly guard, which is exactly what we should be doing. You should always have a half guard with the butterfly hook nowadays, just because it allows you a lot of control over the hips, a lot of ability to lift, a lot of ability to start sweeping. Okay. So Declan just gets fucking booted in the chest with like a teep kick. His ankle almost breaks, and then kind of pushes where he kicked and like wrenches the leg out from underneath Declan here. And then you can see how Declan's trying to stay upright, but because Kynan's done such a good job keeping hold of that leg, it's going to be very difficult for Declan to come up. And anytime he tries, Kynan will just lift that leg tall. And so now Declan's relegated into being forced into the bottom of a guard, and you can see how Kynan's now controlling some corners here. So Declan has this butterfly hook, is really quite nice. You can see how as well he's directly in the middle of the hips. And what we have to keep in mind is that gender doesn't exist in jiu-jitsu. Control points of the body does. So when you're controlling someone's body, you want to be as close to that center line of the body as you can possibly get when you're controlling either the hips or the shoulders. The reason being is that if you start lifting the leg, the leg will go wide, like so, as it's going up, before it ever has an impact on the hip going up, if this makes sense. And so when you're in the middle, you have direct impact on solid bone, which will lift your partner or your opponent much more effectively. And Kana's doing a really good job. He's squatting low on this outside leg. The inside leg. The outside leg is dropped backwards, and he's using his thighs to pinch in, which kills this hook, and rolls his hips flat, which helps to kill the hook, because it's encouraging Declan's knee across. This outside knee is pinching in as well, which makes it difficult on the hip, and this control over the shoulder is making it difficult to bring the hand into the fight for underhooks and things. And so now you can see how connected Kynan is, and that's a very detrimental position for Declan here. And so Declan's trying to go for like an underhook. We get the foreplay choke again, and then Kynan's just pressuring in. So this type of position is very difficult for the person on bottom to play. You don't really want to be playing with this priority knee stuck in between your opponent's legs. The reason being is that even with this grip here, the hook is largely useless. You're being pinned with the foreplay choke. The knee's not doing any work lifting your opponent because you don't have any pull in with your other hand. And so it's like a lot of effort to start lifting your opponent up. And so Kynan's doing a really good job controlling that bottom knee and not allowing the foot back to the hip. Now we get to this position. You can see the difference in distance management between these two gentlemen is that even though the foot's stuck in the mud, you could see that Kynan was backing up and controlling both the knees. And that makes it very difficult for an ab crunch to bring the knees in with the sticky hooks to lift Kynan over the top. And so it's very clear to me that Kynan's significantly better. Now, I love what he's doing here. The Lassale hook is good as like a temporary stop, but I love what Kynan's doing because he's holding onto the hip here and he's using his shoulder to pressure the hook forwards, which allows him to basically take all of his body weight through the shoulder into Declan, which alleviates the need for this left hand here to be used as like a post. Therefore, he can start using it to hold onto the knee and passing the guard. And we'll see that in a second, I'm sure. So Declan does a good job of weaving that leg back in. Immediately, Kynan sits up and starts controlling that ankle again because he wants to get back into that knee cut position. So we're here in this position where he's sitting heavy on the hips, keeping everything controlled, not allowing Declan to crunch up that much or bring his knees in that much. And it's a very difficult spot now because Kynan's pressuring sideways, which is encouraging this knee sideways. If Declan starts to shrimp, it's going to cause a scramble and Kynan's going to latch onto the hips and then he will be cooked. Back into the foreplay choke. And now Declan was trying to invert to the outside, and I really like what I'm seeing from Kynan here is that he's turned the corner with his hips and he's controlling that outside ankle and controlling the hip. So it's making it very difficult because he's putting a roadblock in the way, which makes it difficult for Declan's mass to get into this space over here because the knee is in the way. He's also holding onto the hip and pulling it backwards. And so this is a very difficult position now for Declan to play, and he's forced to go back around the corner. You see Kynan, his posture is just so far over the top, his weight's directly down through Declan. You can see how Declan's struggling. This is the dodgiest thing ever. Like, just smothering your opponent. It's because Declan's a bit stuffed here now, because he needs to use his hand to keep Kynan away, but if he brings a hand in to defend, he needs to breathe, obviously. So he needs to use his right hand here to defend the breath, but if he takes his right hand away, Kynan will just smash straight through the guard. And so he's a little bit stuck here, and this is very panic-inducing, especially when someone smothers you. Personally, I don't love this as like a tool to win, but you know, like, people didn't like foot locks as well, and people don't like wrist locks. It's just a mechanism with which to win. So if it does win, it does win. Personally, I don't like it. It just feels dirty to me. But again, like, footlocks were seen as dirty, so it doesn't matter. Whatever wins, wins, really. And so Declan's trying his best to keep that hand off his face by extension, and he's forced into lifting Kynan quite tall, who's just saying like slime. And you can see how Kynan's not tense in his body, and so he just gets extended upwards. If you watch, he just allows himself to get extended upwards, which is very heavy. Yeah, nice. It's very heavy for Declan. And then straight away uses that left hand to push the knee in, immediately collapses on that knee. Controlling the bottom of the head, he's going to pull himself in, and like pulling Declan's head off the ground. And now this is very, very tough position for Declan to play. So we get this underhook. The knee's pinching in. It's collapsing the knee. Declan needs to be pushing on the head and trying to get this elbow back into underneath the armpit, and he needs to be shrimping his hips out. Otherwise, he'll get passed straight to mount. And Kynan just smashes straight over that hook to mount. And so, for those of us that were wondering a couple of videos back when I said don't grapevine, cross your feet, I don't know why you guys didn't understand cross your fucking feet, but this is what I meant. Cross your fucking feet underneath the other person's bum. This is significantly better than grapevining because it allows you to stay attached like a loop to the other person's hips, and it's very difficult to bring these feet in to start pushing the ankles down, and it closes down this space in here, so that it's very hard to get on your side to free a knee underneath the ankle. So if you're on top position, try playing with crossing your feet much more than grapevining around the ankles. And now we see this, like the slow work to get the underhook back in. There's nice work by Declan here, but he's very red-faced. He's suffering. Kynan just looks like he's chilling. He's just chilling on top. This head low is very difficult to play against because it's smothering. And I wouldn't be surprised if Declan actually almost taps out because of the smother. I wouldn't be surprised as well if Declan's nerves are playing up because he's Australian, and Australians are usually not very good at jiu-jitsu on a global scale. There's only one or two of us that have done well. And so we get into this position where Kynan just starts taking the back because Declan's not really doing much. He's trying to escape. Kynan controls the bottom, so in case Declan wants to commit all the way over, he's going to be controlling that bottom elbow, and he'll end up in a flattened out belly down back mount. And so Declan's trying to get on his side. It's not working because Kynan's got that aforementioned leg wrap. It's a very difficult spot for him for Declan to be playing here. And Kynan sees that now is the time just to make progress. Maybe they're talking to each other. Yeah, they might be talking to each other. You see a little head nod there. So Kynan sits around the corner and starts pulling up and over the top. To me, this is not really that good and relies on a lot of strength to pull, because if Declan timed this right, he could jam this bottom elbow to the floor and start shrimping out, and then he would stand pretty good chances at re-guarding, and Kynan would be forced to try and follow up and on top. There'd be a massive space because his knee would be like this on the floor. And there'd be a massive space in here for Declan to start going out, and then he'd have to go back into that headquartersy type position that we saw before. And so this type of motion seemed a bit preemptive to me, but he manages to make it work because he had such tight control over that bottom shoulder, and Declan, I don't think, was expecting it. And so we get into the bottom of back control. Declan's still trying to get out of it, and we see this body lock wrap is almost there, but not quite. And again, this is not as clean as it could have been, really. But once again, we're on the back. We're going to go for that power Nelson to force Declan down, and then Declan's just going to stand straight up. Manages to shake Kynan off the top, but Kynan's still on the back, and he's got this really nice wrap in, and this is forcing Declan's knee to the inside. It's forcing Declan onto a 4-point guard so that he doesn't just fall down. And so Kynan's looking to take the back again. Again, I think this could have been done a little bit better. where we don't end up in this wrestling position. But it's a very, very strong position for Kynan. Problem for Declan here is that if this inside leg steps backwards, he will get tackled because it'll open up the space for the left hand to come through to the knee. Or as he goes backwards, Kynan will just dance around the back. So you can see how he's reaching, trying to go over the top for like a whizzer, or to start turning his hips out. But it's a very difficult spot for Declan to be playing. You can see how Declan's not quite sure. I love that little motion that we saw there. So Kynan's dancing. He's putting pressure on that leg. He's putting pressure on that leg forwards. Immediately swings out and in underneath and back through, which does like a little ankle trip backwards, which forces Declan to the ground because Declan's other hand is not on the floor to support his weight. And so all of a sudden, like a viper, he gets struck, and then he's back into bottom of turtle. Difficult spot to play. So Declan's having a little bit of a rest now. Really, he should be probably trying to stand back up, or even like roll back through to the bottom of a mount so he can start having chances of getting a guard back in the scramble. You don't really want to be staying in like a static turtle like this where you're just waiting for the person on top to start moving, because you'll end up losing because they make small adjustments like what we're seeing here. Then the knee will go in, and then all of a sudden when it's time to scramble, you're going to lose the position, or you stand a higher chance of losing the position. And so you can see how Kynan's looking for an entry. Not sure what the objective is going over the top. Maybe he's trying to pull the chin and grab the head and pull Declan back. But I think probably more likely he's wanting to make Declan defend on the left so he has opportunity on the right to get the seatbelt grip in. And I guess we'll just find out together. And so he might be going for a front headlock as well. He might be going for a front guillotine. But Declan starts to posture up. Immediately we see like a crucifix entry where Kynan is looking to start getting into this crucifix. Because he whipped that leg around and back in, it opens up the space once again, and now the chest is connected to back, and it's very, very detrimental now for oh wow, really good showing by Declan there. So because he opens up this space here, the foot goes in like we said, and now there's threats of the hand following and the back being taken. But Declan does a good job of defending and walking around the top, and you can see how that closed down this space for the hand. And if Kynan was to follow the back, he would get shucked off the top. So Kynan instead retreats the hand to the other side, keeping the hand, his left arm in for the crucifix control, and then just starts sinking in for a guillotine. So whichever way, because Declan was going like side to side to side to side, whichever way he went, Kynan was making the correct decision to follow. So now we have this arm in guillotine where the guillotine wrap is like so. It might turn into a das, it might not. It doesn't really matter. This is a very, very tight position for Declan to be playing, and I'm pretty sure that this is all she wrote. So Kynan knows that this is sunk in. He's not that panicked by it. You can see how he's got the loop now around the arm and the head, and he's starting to apply. Declan's allowing his head to go through, and he's trying to defend this arm, because the more this elbow drops in, he's actually trying to pull it back around the corner. So the more it drops in, the more pressure's on the neck. So he actually needs it to go deeper into like a das choke in order to defend this properly. Unless, of course, it's slippy enough to pop off the top of the head. But it's not likely, because he would be pushing it deeper into the choke. And you see how Kynan stacks up on this outside leg, which allows him to go taller, and around the top, which allows the elbow to come taller as well, which cinches it tighter. So it's beautiful defense, but eventually... Beautiful defense, but eventually, because Declan sits down and around the side, Kynan follows him up and over the top, and then what have I done? As Declan, how do I get rid of these? I don't know. Sorry, all of these are just in the way. As soon as Declan sits down, the head will be cinching in, and kind of manages to tighten up the guillotine to the point where Declan can't defend it anymore. And so he gets the tap. Declan's out of the competition, and Kynan wins that in a very dominating fashion. Alrighty, guys, just a quick one for you today. Thank you so much for all your support. I really appreciate it. I'll hopefully have another video or two out in the next couple of days. Thank you so much. Take it easy. Bye now.